We're going to begin the Q&A portion. Members will have 5 minutes, and it won't surprise anybody in this room to know that I'm kind of lenient on that. As long as you don't use 4.5 of your minutes to lecture or editorialize and only live 30 seconds for an answer to a question. But we're going to be very tolerant of the people here because at the end of the day, we all share the same goal, and that is to ensure that we're doing the very best we can by the people who utilize the transportation modes in this great country. You'll be recognized in the order of seniority based on who was seated at the beginning of the hearing, as is typical, going back and forth between parties. One other note, at around 10:30, because there is another subcommittee hearing going on today, our colleague David Joyce is chairing the Financial Services and General Government Subcommittee. He will come in and I will seek a unanimous consent request to allow him to get to his 5 minutes of questions so that he can return back to his subcommittee. So at this time, I'm going to recognize myself. Secretary Duffy, one of the President's first actions was to undo burdensome regulations relating to climate and equity brought by the prior administration. You followed suit. You've discussed this in your opening statement today, revoking Biden-era policies and requirements pertaining to social and environmental justice. You also tasked the modal administrations to review grant applications and awards to ensure funds are implemented in accordance with statute and not extraneous Biden-era policies unrelated to transportation. You mentioned 3,200 grant awards. So far, according to our records, you've cleared just over 480 of those, about 15%. Can you give us a status update and help us understand the steps you're taking to review and how the grantee is notified as we move through this process?
Yeah, I appreciate the question, Mr. Chairman. We are all hands on deck right now, working through these grant agreements. Again, I think you're going to see progress ramp up. But if we look over the past 4 years, there's a few months where the last administration was able to get more grant agreements out the door than we have. But by and large, we are moving at a near record pace. And we're going to continue to move at that pace. I know how important these projects are to all of your states and your districts, and especially as we come into the spring building season, or we're in the spring building season, how important it is to get those agreements signed.
What are your limitations?
Well, it takes time, right? It takes time to go through and think through these grant agreements. I will say there's a level of bureaucracy, not just at DOT, but I think throughout government. We need to streamline that bureaucracy. Again, we have to do it right, but we're looking for efficiencies. How can we do it faster? We're looking at using AI tools as well as other technological tools that we could deploy that could help us move faster on these grant agreements. We're in that exploration phase right now.
I want to talk a bit about staffing for a moment. Long-standing language in our bill that requires notification prior to any program elimination or major reorganization. Over the past few months, we've seen a series of efforts by the administration to reduce the size of the federal workforce. And I think a lot of us up here would agree that the federal bureaucracy has become bloated. But I think we need to be a little bit more precise in downsizing a department with a mission as critical as DOT's. The dismissal of probationary employees has brought a reduction to the workforce of 3,000. When you add 2 rounds of buyouts, DOT will see a 12% reduction in staffing since January of 20. I also understand that OMB requested a reduction in force plan to be submitted by mid-March. So the question is pretty simple. How many departures can you handle without eroding the ability to carry out a safe and effective mission?
So first off, you mentioned the reprogramming, and I know there's requirements to report to Congress if there is going to be reprogramming. We are working through some ideas right now on how we can streamline the department. When we've completed those ideas, we will no doubt share them with you for your consideration. Listen, we can do more with less, Mr. Chairman. And if we do more with less, that means that we'll have additional money, I think, through this committee to put back into the infrastructure that so many of us dearly want in our communities. And so the DRP is maybe not it's not a scalpel. People are willing to take an opportunity to retire, to resign. We should take them up on that. And if we have shortfalls, I am mission driven. The president loves this department, loves the work that we do. You all care about the work that we do. If I have to hire people back in, I'll do that to make sure we can do the work. But if I have people who don't want to be there, that want to take the offer, well, let's get some people in who are hungry to do the work. That's what I'm looking for. And so we're gonna make it work. It's not a scalpel, but it's an opportunity for us to reduce the force, get the work done, and save the American people money.
I thank the gentleman. Mr. Clyburn.